The Against All Odds podcast, sponsored by Oak Forest Recovery.
Welcome to the Against All Odds podcast. I am your host, Rachel, here with co-host RJ, and we got nobody cares Anthony in the building today. This is like, I'm fangirling a little bit.
I appreciate that. Means a lot.
Do you know I
coming
say
from you.
cheem creams? It's cheem creams.
You'll never say
it's like a
cheem
stem of
creams?
mine. Yeah, I'll have to show you the video.
You'll never say cream cheese again.
No,
No.
I won't. So I'm so happy you're here.
I'm excited to be here. I was thinking to myself earlier today where it was like, because things have been going good for a while, and I
Yeah.
was thinking to myself, like, I'm going on a podcast called Against All Odds. That means things got hairy for a second there. You know what I mean?
For
Things
sure.
weren't going
For
too
sure.
hot for a
Yeah.
while. But I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So where does your story? You're from Boston. Wicked smart.
Well, people
park your
get
car.
sensitive about that.
Okay.
I'm not from Boston. I say Massachusetts.
Okay.
Because if you say you're from Boston and you're not 14 minutes from town hall, people have a connection.
Okay.
So I'm from like 30 minutes south of Boston.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And you were born there?
Yeah, I was born in Boston. Yeah, in 1989, a long time ago. And I mean, like my story started like really young. Like when I think about it, like I can remember like going to my cousin's house and like stuffing my pants with his action figures, like stealing all of his action figures.
Dude,
like I was
had
kind of a fucked up
I had a
kid.
klepto phase.
Yeah, that's where it
early
started.
on too.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does home life like look like for you when you're a little kid? You know, mom and dad, happy home. What do things look like?
So, I mean, I grew up in like a nice house in a cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Right. But my
Yeah, in the
parents,
burbs?
like in the suburbs,
Okay.
my parents kind of had like a tumultuous relationship. There was a lot of like chaos in the house growing up and stuff like that. Nothing too like crazy or extreme. It's not like my mother was putting my fucking hand on the stove or like
Yeah.
a child called it type stuff. You know what I mean? It was just kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
And I think my problem as a kid was I had like vicious ADD, like untreated, and they just couldn't control me. They had no control over me at all. I'd throw these like temper tantrums and stuff. I was just kind of like a crazy kid. It was kind of, they didn't know what to do with me. I was there first. And I have one little sister. She's 5 years younger than me. And then so by the time I was like approaching high school, I was already like experimenting with drugs and stuff like
Okay.
that. I used to call myself like an experienced drug experimentalist at 15 years old. I wanted to just
Okay.
try everything because I really liked the way that it made me feel.
What was the first thing you ever like drinking and smoking? Walk
Drinking
us
and
through your
s-
first experience.
I'd say drinking and smoking like normal, like everyone else did in high school. All my friends are a little bit older, but it was the Klonopin that really like was like thinking back on it as a 36-year-old man looking at like a 14, 15-year-old kid using Klonopin is like an insane. I can remember
Right.
I played basketball. I was on the basketball team in high school. I think it was like my sophomore year of high school. It was JV. And I had 6 Klonopins, the 1 milligram Klonopins with me. And I hadn't done them yet. And I just had them in my pocket. So the way basketball works is like the JV will play an away game. And then you'll sit and watch varsity play. So I remember I was like, all right, I'm going to take them during the varsity game.
Right,
and I
right,
didn't
right.
know how pills worked, right? So I took one and I waited like 4 or 5 minutes and
You're
I
like,
didn't feel anything. And I was like, oh, these are bullshit. So I took 2 more, and then by halftime of the varsity game, I had taken all 6.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
shit!
And I
For your
and-
first time.
First time ever. And I was like,
And you're blackout.
yeah, I remember. So what I remember is like during halftime of the varsity, like the JV team would get up and shoot around, right? And so I remember I like couldn't get out of my seat.
Yeah.
I was like trying to push myself
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
My buddy had to get me up. And right there, I should have been like, all right, maybe just sit.
Yeah.
just-
But no,
Yeah.
no, you had to get
I
out.
wanted to shoot around.
Yeah.
You know, you're young.
Well, that's the problem with Klonopin too, because you like literally don't care too.
Yeah.
And
you're just
basketball,
like,
like I'm
fuck it.
always, if there's a
Yeah.
hoop and there's a ball, I want
Yeah.
to shoot, dude. I want to shoot around. So I remember that someone passed me the ball and it went right through my hands and hit me in the chest. And then I went to pick it up and it felt like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
And then I shot a 3 and it went like 6 feet in the air and then straight down in front. I didn't
Yeah.
even reach the free
Yeah.
throw line.
Yeah.
And then I went, all right, I'm just going to have a seat. It's something. They're definitely kicking in.
Yeah.
And then all I remember is getting on the bus and the coach kind of looking at me like, what's up with Varela?
Yeah.
And then that's it. I guess I was like freestyle rapping in the back and prank calling Chinese food restaurants.
Oh my God.
From what I was told.
Yeah.
And then I just woke up in my bed at home. And I didn't remember anything.
Then you went to the blackout.
And then I went
time
to school
travel.
and I did it again. I took 6 more in school that day.
Oh my
and then
God.
by lunch, I don't remember anything. And I was stealing them from my father. My father was prescribed them. That's how I got them at first.
Yeah.
And like back in the day, you get a pill and you
did you
look it
know what
up
it
on the pill.
was?
People were taking it. It was a popular drug
So
back
you'd
then.
heard about other people and you're like, okay,
pills
I
were
wanna try
huge
this.
when I was in high school. I mean, so I was my freshman year was 04. I graduated in 08. So that was like
The thick of it.
the thick.
I
of
graduated
it,
in
dude.
06. I was born in 88.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah,
like
we all
OCs.
got in the same
Bars, Klonopins,
Yeah.
80s.
80 milligram oxys, Roxys.
Yeah. And it was it got bad pretty quick. And then my parents basically didn't know what to do.
So did they find out because their pills are gone?
Oh
or-
yeah. I mean, I stole a lot of stuff from the
Yeah.
family and stuff like that. And it was like before it wasn't even to buy drugs. Like I remember I stole like a couple $1,000s from my dad and bought all my friends like Nintendo DS. Like
It was
I was
just
just
to
a
like
klepto.
do the same.
Yeah, it was bad. And so they didn't know what to do. And they're arguing about like, because my father grew up in the Cape Verde Islands, which is like a group of volcano islands off the central west coast of Africa. So he grew up where it was like,
Wow.
you know, you got hit with the belt.
Fuck
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Then my mom was born and raised in Massachusetts. So it was like, I'd get hit with the belt and then put in timeout. They just didn't know
the
what to
dichotomy
do.
between these two. Yeah.
And so I'll never forget this. My father came to me one day and he was like, you know, me and your mother, it was 2 weeks after my sophomore year of high school. It's like, me and your mom want to send you to this anger management camp for 3 days. And I was like, I'm not going to that. I like the nerve of a 16-year-old kid
of
to
course.
just be like,
Yeah.
I would just shut my phone off
yeah.
and like disappear for
That's
3
what I would
days
do.
and then
Yeah,
walk
I'd
in
just
and
be
they'd be like,
gone.
what are you doing, dude? You know?
Yeah.
And eventually he bribed me. He was like, I'll give you $300 if you go. I was like, all right, when do we leave?
Yeah.
And he was like, we leave tomorrow. I was like, all right, I want the money before I get in the car.
Yeah.
And then we just started driving and like we didn't have a great relationship at all. Fast forward to today, he's like one of my best friends. We talk on the phone every day.
Yeah.
And but back then we were like weren't even on speaking terms.
Yeah.
And we drove like 7 hours, 8 hours or something like that to Lake Placid, upstate New York. And he brought me to this like little cottage. And there was just one lady there sitting behind a desk in like what normally would be a dining room. And then my dad just like left. And I'll never forget, he like turned around and he looked at me and he just went and walked out. And I was like, oh, something's not right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I like immediately got up off the couch and looked outside and he was already backing out of the driveway. He must have sprinted. There's no way he walked, his tiny legs.
Yeah.
And this Suburban pulled in, this black Suburban pulled in, and these two like huge Delta team guys got out. And they were like, are you Anthony Varela? And I was like, yeah. And they were like, get in the car. And I looked at the lady and I was like, she was like, yeah, no, they're going to bring you to base camp or whatever. Now we're driving deep into the forest in the Adirondacks.
Yeah.
And down a trail. And I remember there used to be this show on TV called Brat Camp.
Oh, I feel like I remember
yeah,
that.
it was like
I've heard
about
of it,
wilderness programs.
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
remember this was like, I remember being in middle school and like, remember like family TV time. I don't know if you guys had that. And my mother was like, keep it up, Anthony, one day, like as like a joke. And then it hit me. I was like, I'm in one of those.
Yeah. You're like,
one
it's
of those
here.
things,
The time
dude.
is here.
Yeah. So, I mean, to make a long story medium, I ended up in one of those wilderness programs. It was called Adirondack Leadership Expeditions. I have stories for like days about all
How
that
long were
stuff.
you there?
So I was in the woods for 44 days.
Okay.
Just bushwhacking. A lot of people like there's no trails.
Do you hike
like 15, 20 miles a day.
day.
With like a
Are you
60
sleeping
pound
outside?
pack. I slept under a tarp.
Right.
That we just, you
had to set it up.
Yep.
Yeah, you had to set it
tied
up.
the tarp like
Using-
like P cord from
Yes.
one tree to another. You put the tarp up, and just under that was like a bug bivvy, they call it. So it's like this like thing that you can get inside and zip
Like
up.
a little net.
The net
Yeah.
thing, so the
Little
bugs
net
don't eat
sleeping-
your face
okay.
off. Yeah.
Fuck.
And then a sleeping bag inside of that.
Is it winter?
They have it in the winter, but luckily it was the summer in between my
Oh, thank
sophomore and
God.
junior year.
Yeah.
And I thought I was gonna go home after.
Listen, nobody wakes up one day and thinks, you know what'll be fun? Going to rehab. But sometimes life gets messy, and the bravest thing that you can do is admit that you need a reset.
At Oak Forest Recovery, we're not here to judge. We've been there. We know what it's like. We've been scared. We've been alone, using comedy and jokes to cover it all up. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. We have the tools, we've got the community, and we even have good coffee.
If you or someone you love is struggling, come see us. Healing doesn't have to be boring. It can even be fun, and we're here to help.
What they do is the counselors would rotate. So you have like a group of counselors. So they have like groups spread out throughout the Adirondacks.
Right,
You never cross
right.
paths with the other groups. Female groups, male
Male
groups.
yeah.
And,
Certain sizes.
yeah.
A bunch of them out there.
Bunch of them. Never cross paths with each other. And so when the counselors would rotate, like do weekly shifts. So 1 week you'd get a new set of counselors that would come in. And it was like 4 or 5 of them. They'd bring the food for the week and they'd bring you a letter. And the first letter I got was called like an impact letter. So my mom's a really good writer. It was like everything I'd ever done wrong to hurt the family. And it was like from like porn on the computer to like the worst thing I ever did and everything in between. And I remember reading it and like crying and being like, oh, I am a piece of shit. You guys are right.
Yeah.
And
that's the initial breakdown, right?
It broke me, dude. Especially when it got to when it talked about how my actions affected my little sister. I cried like a little baby because she was so sweet and innocent and perfect. And then the next letter was like, oh, you're not going back to BR, my high school, Bridgewater Raynham Regional High School. Shut up.
Yeah.
And
your life is just being ripped.
It was
from
like
you.
that. High school was everything to me. It was so much fun. And I was like, they're going to send me to some like corny private school or something.
Yeah.
And then each letter, it was like the school I was going to was worse and worse. And then it was, at least I get to go home for like a couple weeks before this shitty boarding school. Maybe I can talk them out of it. And they picked me up and they drove me right to a therapeutic boarding school.
No going home.
No, I went right there and I flipped out. I was so mad. It was called the Academy at Swift River. And now it's a treatment center in Western Mass called Swift River. And but it was like an old ski lodge. It was co-ed. And picture like every class clown and like crazy person from every high school across the country in one school together.
Spot.
So was it kind of fun? Or did it suck?
It felt like torture in the moment because it was so weird, like being held against my will for such a long period of time without breaking the law. So I did 44 days in the wilderness program and then 11 months at the boarding school. I did my whole junior year of high school there. And the way that they get you is they have 3 major rules. It was like no sex, no drugs, and no violence. So no fights. And if you broke any of those rules, those military dudes that came and met me at the cottage will come in your room at 3 a.m. and bring you back to the wilderness program, and then you start the clock over again. So they really had.
So they were handed wilderness, and this program were handed.
That's how they all worked.
It was a requirement.
Yes.
Some girls came from like psych wards. They were always my favorite.
Yeah.
And then, but most of the people came from wilderness programs.
Yeah.
So at that point, that was like the hardest thing I've ever been through in my life. It was brutal.
Wow.
Yeah. And I like to say that it didn't fix me at all because like I got out of there and picked up my first like breaking and entering case as an adult, like 2 months out of there.
Well, probably made you worse, I would imagine.
What I like to say is that I was going down like a really horrible path.
Yeah.
And it woke me up a little bit and it just shifted it. So I still went down a terrible path. But I feel like if they didn't send me there, something bad was going to happen.
gotten worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I give them that credit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Were you allowed to call your parents when you were there? Would they listen to the phone call? How did it work?
So I had a designated phone time every Monday from 8 p.m. to 8:20. I could call my mom or dad 20 minutes a week. That's it. I couldn't write letters to friends, call friends. This was like back in the MySpace days. So like no MySpace.
Yeah. Nothing.
No TV. Like a ping pong table, basketball hoop. And then schoolwork. But it was fun. Like I had some of the biggest belly laughs I've ever had in my life. Some of the people I've been in there. What's crazy
it's like
now?
being a camp.
Oh, kind of.
Yeah.
Camp that like you can't.
You
do
can't
anything.
skate. Yeah.
And I look back on it now. It's like so many of those kids are dead. Really? So like a jarring amount. It's like it's like I wonder what this kid's up to. You Google them, obituary. It's like so sad. Yeah.
God, it's terrible.
It's bad. It's rough.
So what happens from there? You get out. And you
free man.
Free
they
man.
wanted me to go to like regular boarding school, but I was turning 18, so I was like, don't even waste
That's a
your money.
common thing on the East Coast, though, right? Like going to boarding school.
Not where I was from.
I didn't know anybody that went to boarding school.
Okay.
No.
I mean, once I got into that realm of the
then you knew
therapeutic stuff,
everybody that
then
was in boarding school.
I knew how common it was to go to boarding school, but I hadn't had any friends that went to boarding school. Maybe like a Catholic school.
Yeah.
After middle
I
school,
did
like
Catholic
a couple
school.
kids, right?
Yeah.
You were one of those?
I was, I got, my parents were like, oh no.
Like my sister went to an all-girls school.
Yeah.
But after that, I kind of linked up with like the wrong crowd. And I was now like the badass, right? Because like there was rumors going around.
You got sent away.
He went to jail.
I came back. I didn't have my braces on anymore. It was like, Anthony's a badass. And I liked that title. So I was let me do badass stuff to keep this going. You know what I mean? Because inside I'm dying inside. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do this. But the girls thought I was a badass, Yeah. But inside I was like, I just want to be different. I just want to be normal. But I just I couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't do it. And things just happened. And then that's when like the perk 30s hit. And then that was like the big game changer where it was like, I love them so much, dude. You know what I mean? They meant everything to me. Like, they were so great. And, that I like hung on to those for a long time where like I'd had friends that would do like a half of a perk 30 for 2 weeks and then they're shooting heroin. But like I hung on for dear life to the point where I got up to like maybe 15 a day.
Wow.
I hung on for a really long time. And, but like shortly after my senior year in high school, I graduated by the skin of my teeth, class clown, 2008. The runner up wasn't even close. He had one vote, voted for himself. I'm pretty sure, Cody Jordan. And, my parents divorced finally, finally, my senior year of high school. And so just me, my mom, my sister in the house. I threw like some epic party at the house. My mom and sister were gone and my uncle broke it up. And my mom was kind of like, you're not living here anymore. And so I bounced around a little bit and just kind of figured it out. And I ended up moving to Brockton, Massachusetts, which if you're from Massachusetts, it's like not the best city. There's a lot of like violence and gang violence and stuff like that, which if you don't live that life, you're fine. You can walk down the street, you're fine.
Right.
But if you do, it's extremely dangerous. And I didn't know any of this. Yeah. And I can remember, I'm going to not use any names or anything like that when it comes to this part of the story, but I can remember being with my cousin and when you grow up in the hood like that, like you can be friends in high school with somebody that like becomes like this big gangbanger and like you work at like a car dealership and you have like a normal life, but like you might like smoke pot with them every once in a while. And this is like so foreign to me because I grew up in like a nice town or whatever. And I remember this kid got in the car and from looking at it, because like I was big into like rap music and stuff like that. I had like the tall tees and the champ hoodies and stuff like that. And I wanted to be black so bad. It was like, I don't even, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Like I wanted so badly to be bad. I would tell people like, cause my dad is from Africa, but I'm like white. I'd be like, my dad's from fucking, my dad's from Africa. I don't know. And
so good.
So he got in the car. I was this like Cape Verdean kid. And I was like, oh, he's the real deal, dude. It felt like the beginning of like a French Montana music video. And he got in the car and I was like, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, dude, play it cool, dude. Play it cool. You know what I mean? And we just drove around and smoked. And I'll never forget, my cousin was like, all right, I got to drop you guys off. I got to go. And the kid turned around and he was like, do you drive? And I was like, fuck yeah, I drive, dude. I got a 96 Maxima. And he was like, can you give me a ride? And my cousin shot me a look in the rearview mirror. Like he did the math where it's like his crazy cousin with this kid that he should never have brought me around are now going to be alone together. And he shot me this look like, oh, no, please say it. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'll give you a ride. So now he's like making plays out of my car. We went right to like AutoZone and he like tinted the windows himself. And I was like, oh, this is so cool, dude. And he brought me to like a cookout and it was like,
you were like, this is all I ever wanted.
Like, it was like, this is everything to me, dude. I fit right in. And I didn't like change. Like I was still like, did the voices and was funny and whatever. And they loved it. And then I just hung out with them every day. And then
I've got to meet clients that have come, you know, through finding O-Forest through my platform. And I think that's been one of the most special things. And then seeing them, I've seen people come in the beginning, and then I've seen them, you know, at Bonfire or after, and seen like the light come back in their eyes and what a great experience they're having, and this new, you know, community that they have now that could last for the rest of their lives and has set them up like for a successful recovery. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things.
I try to be careful when I tell these stories, for obvious reasons, but I can remember like the first time I was with them where I was like, okay, this is real. Mm-hmm. This is serious. So it turns out they're one of the most violent gangs in the entire city, and they like are basically all stick-up kids where they just rob drug dealers. If they rob you and like you have drugs, they'll sell the drugs. But when they're gone, they're just looking for the next person to rob. They're not like reeing up and doing all that. And I remember being in a car with them, and something very crazy happened where I was in the back seat. There was like 7 of us in a Ford Explorer. And I was like, nope, drop me off. No, I'm not doing this. Drop me off, dude. I'm not doing this. And they all laughed, and they were like, fine. They dropped me off. But at this point in time, they were feeding my Percocet addiction because they would just give them to me. I didn't have to pay anything. Like the prices of them started rising. I didn't have to pay anything. And then like 2 days later, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to hang out with them. And I saw some, like, they never made me do anything I didn't want to do. But I would like drive or like put a rental in my name or like stash stuff at my apartment, little stuff like that. But I saw some like pretty scary, traumatic stuff, been shot at a lot. And it was just like traumatizing for someone that like didn't grow up in it. And I was just doing it to feed my addiction.
How old were you at the time?
So I hung out with them from like 19 all the way until I was 25.
Got it.
Went to jail a couple times, nothing crazy. During this time, I had a child, you know, and I was still like just running around Brockton and, you know, not living life the right way. My first time ever in treatment was because my dad found out like something really bad had happened, and one of their moms, like my friend's moms, went to my dad's store because my dad's like a very well-respected Cape Verdean person in the community. So they went to my dad's store and they were like, listen, your son's hanging around with my son. I know what family he comes from. Like, you might want to like tell him not to, or like get him to not. And so that's when my dad found out about like the Section 35 law in Massachusetts, where you don't have to break the law, and like the police will just knock on your door, bring you to court, and then you are mandated to a facility.
Oh, wow.
And at the time it was at the Bridgewater State Penitentiary. And I remember like them coming in like to where I was living at the time. I think it was like my grandmother's basement. And I have some funny stories about that. But they were like, oh, you got to come with us to the courthouse. And I was like, did I break the law? And they were like, no, but you still got to come with us. I was like, I'm not coming with you guys. And they're like, no, you have to.
That's crazy.
So it's only Massachusetts
and Florida. Is it like a
Scared
straight type of thing?
I mean, so I was over 18, you know what I mean?
But your parents could call.
Only Mass and Florida have it.
And they could, well, like in Florida, you can get Marchman Act.
Right.
And then they force you to treatment.
Yeah.
This is like the same thing.
So it's in Mass, it's called Section 35, basically.
And your parents could just call and be like, no, he's on drugs.
So they have
he's
to go
here.
to the courthouse.
Yeah.
And they have to fill out paperwork, get it approved, and then the judge puts out the warrant. And then they come get you. And you can run from it. And there's like a window, and then it closes, and then they have to go back again.
Yeah, it's the same in Florida. It's called the Marchman Act in Florida, and it lasts for a certain period of time. But if you can catch the person in that period of time, usually you don't want them to know you're getting Marchman Act. Then you show up, and the police will literally take you, arrest you, and bring you to treatment. Wow. And then you have to stay in treatment.
I'm kind of a fan of that.
No, it's great. There's been stories where we've had people that we can't get to go to treatment.
Yeah.
And then we'll be like, we're flying you to Florida because there's this great thing. They go to Florida, and there's like, it's already done and waiting. And they land and get Marchman Act.
Yeah, it's tough.
I didn't know they did that.
This one was in the prison, which like the Bridgewater
treatment
State
center was in the prison.
So you had Bridgewater State Penitentiary is for like rapists and murderers. It's like a bad
like
one.
Max.
Like clinically insane prisoners and stuff like that. Obviously, they don't went on the same section as them.
Yeah.
But we had like just a chain link fence separating us from like the early release, the pre-release. And so it was like inmates serving us food at the prison, like chow hall or whatever. And we had to take like addiction courses and stuff like that. And I think I was there for like 35 days.
Wow.
And then went to a halfway house in the city and like stayed one night and then hopped on the train and went back to Brockton and then just left. But he did it just because of the people that I was hanging around with. It wasn't, he knew that I was using
just trying
drugs.
to pull you out.
So he
Just
knew
trying to
that
give you a
like,
reset.
That's it, dude. And I went in there. And nothing really registered at all. And then about a year later, I was back again. He sectioned me again. And this time, you know, I was a dad and things were a little bit different. And I was like, oh, maybe I should change my life a little bit, you know? And I remember like my license was suspended and I was walking around, like going into different places trying to get a job. And I remember like a black SUV blocked me. At this point, I'm like affiliated enough with them. We're like, if I'm by myself, no one's gonna shoot me. But like, they could get beat up or stabbed or something. So I was a little cautious and nervous. And this kid, well, the kid that I originally met, that right now I think he's serving 27 years in prison or something like that. But it was him, and he pulled up in front of me as I was walking and was like, "Get in." And then from that day, I started hanging out with him again. I like couldn't break it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of had like a conversation with them basically where it was like, hey, I'm going to try to do the right thing. And it's not like the movies where they're like, there's only one way out. You know what I mean? It's it's not like, they're like, cool, dude. We hope the best for you, you know? And I got on drug replacement therapy for the first time. I got into Suboxone and I was selling cars and I was really good at it. I was like a good car salesman. And then I started making enough money where it was like, oh, I had this bright idea. It was like, I don't need to hang out with them anymore. I can support my own habit. So I got off the subs and then things went downhill really quick. And then that's when I first made the switch to, you know, the harder substances. And then I can remember like my like one big like pivotal moment is I had like one friend, my friend Carl, who we were like best friends growing up, like middle school, high school days. And he started, and his disease progressed a lot quicker than mine. And so he was already like 2 years clean at the point where I was like, what do I do? I was like in the back seat of my Hyundai Sonata in the Kmart parking lot, like crying because my drug dealer told me he was going to be there in 15 minutes. And it was like 3 hours later and I'm bugging him. Now I've pissed him off and he's not coming at all. So now I'm begging him to please, you know what I mean? That whole thing. And I didn't know who to call. And so he was the only person I can think of. Fast forward, he's like a medical doctor now.
Wow.
He went back to school and he's like a full blown, not like a foot doctor, like a real doctor, which like thinking of him and it blows my mind. And I remember calling him like crying, Carl, what do I do today? And he started laughing. And I was like, this isn't funny. This is a very vulnerable moment in my life, dude. But he was like, no, I'm laughing because I'm so happy that you called, dude. I know exactly how you feel. And basically he just like shed a light on like the way that he looked at the world after he had been through what he'd been through. He's like, I get to look at life through a lens that not a lot of people get to look through it. So it's like after what I went through in active addiction, what it took to get clean. Right. Girlfriend cheats on me. I've been through so much. My boss is a dick. Like basically he just painted like how he looks at life. And I just had that for the first time. It was like, oh, I want that. And it wasn't like a stripper or like a bag of drugs or like a Mercedes or a gun.
Was like a peace of mind.
I was like, I want that positive thing. Doing good so far. And I was like, all right, what do I do, dude? You know, and he's like, call these treatment centers. And the first one that says they have a bed, go. And I was like, all right. And it happened to be this place called Gosnold in the Cape Cod, that like the tip of Massachusetts. And a lot of people don't know this, but it was one of those, like, it was similar to like the Delray area, like one of those like recovery communities where there's so many sober houses, and you go to an NA meeting and there's 3 in the same town and they all have 100 people there. And I went to treatment, and I remember my first meeting out that way, and I was like, this is a thing, dude. Because the only thing I knew about AA or NA was like how they shittily portray it in movies. And
Right,
stuff,
right,
you know?
right. Sitting in a circle
Yeah, it was
in a
like-
church, and it's fucking all dingy.
Right, and it was
Yeah.
like not
Yeah.
real. So that's and then I walked in this basement. And it was like there
was
was
just
hot
hyped.
chicks
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
There was like young people
Yeah.
and like
Yeah,
people
yeah.
laughing and
Yeah, yeah.
joking. And I was like, this is cool, dude. You know.
Yeah.
And that's what like sort of started my recovery journey out that way.
What caused you to choose to become a part of the Oak Forest team?
The first time you came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my family. These are my best friends now. And I immediately felt very drawn to the Oak Forest community. I think it's really beautiful, from just the bonfire meeting and people not even necessarily needing to go through Oak Forest to go to that. And then also knowing that they have this safe community, or if someone needs help, they can go through this program that has changed so many lives. I love that it's like a family and tribe, like you call it. From seeing how many people have gone through there and then decide to work at Oak Forest and help others and want to stay in that community because they love it so much, I think that's truly something I haven't seen anywhere else.
And at one point, Falmouth, Massachusetts was the third largest destination for recovery in the world.
Really?
Huge. Yeah. So many people.
shit.
So many people. And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And it was so cool. But I was that kid that like, I still couldn't do it. You know, I remember like after being down there for like 6 months, and I had already been like sober house detox like 3 or 4 times. And I remember feeling so defeated because I wanted it for the first time. And I actively, no one was sending me somewhere. And I was like, you know, maybe this is just people that get it and people that don't. I'm just one of the people that just isn't going to get it. And I was so defeated. I was like delivering pizza at Papagino's, and I just like couldn't do it. And then I met a girl, and it was like, I really liked her. Just like she walked into the room, and it was like the movie scene. It was
Yeah.
like the music's playing, right? And I was like, who's that, dude? You know? And I just, it was like a love at first. She didn't notice me at all. But so she was clean for a little bit. And it was like, girls with clean time aren't coming near kids that can't stay clean, you know,
for
unless
sure.
you really got it going on, which I didn't. You know, I couldn't even afford contacts at classes. And so I was like, all right, the next day I bought all the literature. I got a sponsor. I like started taking it seriously, so she'd notice me.
You're like,
right?
this is what I can
Yeah,
do.
I was like, I'm doing it now. I'm raising my hand at the meetings. You know, I'm doing all that. And I like weaseled my way into her friend group and stuff like that. And I remember like, long story medium, I remember like we became best friends for like a couple of months. Like I always say that it was like my first adult connection I'd ever made in my life that was that deep, regardless of like the sex or anything, like the physical stuff. Like from using drugs at 14, 15, here I am 25, 26 years old. I had never like
had a meaningful relationship,
anything
right?
at all. And it was like my first real connection with somebody, and it was so cool. And it gave me a little hope, where it was like, okay, there's some stuff to look forward to, you know?
Right.
And I remember that like she tried to friend zone me. I was like concrete knee deep in the friend zone, and I scratched and clawed my way out of it somehow.
Wow.
And we ended up dating, and it was like, you know, I like loved her so much, you know? And then it turned into one of those like toxic Narcotics Anonymous relationships. And it was
Been
like,
there.
got really bad.
Yeah.
But it was like, the bad was bad, but the good was
good.
So good.
amazing. You know what I mean? It was like, oh my God, I get chills even thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I started to do a little bit better with her in my life, but I couldn't fully ever get it together. And then
she's doing well this whole time.
She's working
killing
at
it.
the detox. She's
Okay.
killing it.
Yeah.
She's doing great.
She's about recovery. Yeah.
But then she relapsed. And I
With you?
no
On her own.
on her own.
Okay.
And she was like trying to hide it, and I found out, and then it was like I was the only one that knew, and I was like had maybe like 4 or 5 months under my belt, which was huge for me.
Yeah.
4 or 5 months, foreign territory for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you got to tell somebody else. If something happens to you and I'm the only one that knows. So she started telling people, and then she went like, once she told people, she went she wasn't doing like sneak mode anymore.
She
So it
went
got
full
worse for
blown,
her.
yeah.
And I kind of had to separate myself. I played hero a couple times, you know, kicking people out of her apartment that we using
Right.
and stuff, and being G.I. Joe or whatever. And then she got clean again, and I was still doing all right. And couple months later, I think it was like maybe 3 months later, we get in this huge like blowout fight. And she was living in like a winter rental at the time with her friend, and I was in sober living. And I was, you know, I walked out, stormed off, drove back to my sober house. She's freaking out, you know, chasing the car down the street, the whole thing. And like she was like beautiful, fun, like one of the coolest people you'll ever meet in your life. There was just like a way about her where like people just wanted to be around her. She was so much fun to be around. And then I can remember like that week, so she used the next day and I didn't know. I had no idea. And, you know, she's like calling my phone a lot and like, you know, trying to get me to come over. And I remember one night I went over there because she was like really freaking out. And I was like, I gotta go calm her. Like, I don't know, I'm kind of freaking out. I don't know what to do. And we hung out for a couple hours, and then she wanted me to sleep over, and I was like, not like, we need a break. We're gonna pick up right where we left off. And so I remember she like just rolled over and started crying, and then she was like showing up at my recovery house, like really having a tough time with it. So I took off there's a Narcotics Anonymous convention every year in Burlington, Vermont, like a really big one. And a lot of my friends were going. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take off to that. And I remember like the whole way up, she's like calling me. And I answer the phone and I screamed at her. And she got like really quiet and was like, oh, I'm sorry, and hung up. And then I got to the convention and my phone, my iPhone screen just went black. I didn't drop it. It wasn't old. It just, the screen went black. Soft reset, the whole thing wouldn't turn back on. So I'm like, oh, she's going to lose. She's going to think I turned my phone off. All these girls at the convention. She's going to lose it. And so I borrowed this girl's like spare iPhone, connected to the Wi-Fi, downloaded a texting app, and now she's texting me, whatever. And so she texted me and she was like, I had like, now I'm ignoring her text. And she said something like, you know, how do we get to this point? What happened to us? And then I drove home the next day, went to my sober house, and one of my best friends, Franny, got a call, some girl like screaming. I figured it was like some girl he was talking to, whatever. And I'm just like, good luck with that. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for a phone. I can't even afford cigarettes, you know? And I remember like my buddy Franny and the house manager were like, hey, come in your room for a second. And I was like, oh, dude, okay, what? And I'm thinking Franny got high, like, okay, story of our lives. He was like the kid that we always ended up at the sober house together in the same room, like go to meetings together. And he was like my best friend. And he was white as a ghost looking at the ground. And I remember the house manager's kind of looking at him like, you going to say anything? You know what I mean? And Franny couldn't, he was just white as a ghost looking at the ground. And so the house manager was like, oh, it's Jillian. She overdosed. She passed away. And so this was November 2017. And, you know, I've hit some of the highlight points, but like this was the worst thing ever. You take everything I've ever been through and put it in a blender and shake it up, and it doesn't even hold a candle to like this day. It just like my organs just like, I can't even explain it. I dove into the bed and like grabbed the pillow and started crying, that whole thing. And it was like, not only did my best friend pass away, but it was like, the last time I saw her, I left her crying. The last time I heard her voice, I screamed at her. And the last text she sent me, I ignored her. And that was probably the hardest part of the whole thing to live with. And one of the beautiful things of that day is I remember I called my son's mom. I called my mom. I called my dad. I had never experienced anything like that before. I didn't know what to do. I just stood outside and was like looking into the woods, like super dramatic, like a Dermot Kennedy music video or something. And then like, I don't know, I must have been like looking off into the woods for I don't know how long. And I turned around and there was like 8 men in recovery that had heard what happened and dropped what they were doing and just showed up at my recovery house, just standing there behind me. It was a pretty cool feeling. And then they brought me to a meeting, and you know, my friends have like a dark sense of humor. I remember my buddy Corey like hugged me and he was like, you gonna fucking tell everyone your girlfriend died, dude. Like, it's just super dark sense of humor. Right? We went to Dunk's to get coffee before the meeting, and I told the lady at the drive-thru, I was like, my girlfriend died today. Like, I just like didn't know, like, I use humor for everything, even in my darkest moments. And I went to a meeting that night, and I like raised my hand, and it just was like lump in the throat, waterworks, and I just couldn't even get a word out, and just cried in front of a room of like maybe 70, 80 people, and then just shut it down, and then that was it.
In your experience with treatment, how special is Oak Forest?
Oak Forest is very special. I've had my fair share of treatment experiences. I've even worked in treatment myself. And Oak Forest is like something I've never really experienced before. And I think that it's almost something that like cannot be replicated anywhere else, at least from what I've seen, right? And so it's just like this community and the love and the support that goes from the beginning of the process, and not even just with the clients, with the families, with everything else. Like everything that I have seen goes above and beyond. And like beyond even as like all of these people are being employed long after they have completed treatment, right? And I think that right there says everything.
She was so loved in the community. I think that was everyone, like a lot of people's like, oh shit, like they kind of knew what happened.
Right.
And I always say that it was like the worst thing I've ever been through in my life and the best thing that ever happened to me, as hard as that is to say, at the same time, which is so weird.
Yeah.
Because it
I get that.
changed everything about the way that I look at the world, relationships, people, relationships with my family, friends, everything, just how I look at like gratitude and all that stuff, and how short life is, and to not be mean to people, and to apologize to people quickly, to not hold on to resentments, because it's like living with all that is still a struggle. It's 2017. We're talking, 8-9 years later. It still sucks. I've come a long way with it. Learned a lot about it. But that was sort of like my turning point in life, basically, where everything changed after that.
Right.
Yeah, not to bring down the...
No, but it's such an important story, man. Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah.
I
had a very
similar story too,
yeah,
right?
very similar experience.
Wow.
To that. And that was the first time I didn't go get high. Like, it pushed me. It was like the most devastating experience, but I had already like started working my program, and I had this community and stuff. And it was the first time I had lost people prior, but like I fell in love in early sobriety, and he was my everything. Then he relapsed, and it was kind of the same situation, and he ended up passing away. And it was the first time I ever didn't go immediately like go get high, and I got through it. And I feel like that's a huge part of like my sobriety today. Twins.
Yeah, twins. I mean, I don't mind. My aftermath isn't. I would love for it to be. Like, I really wanted that narrative.
Yeah.
Of like, he stayed clean after that. Like, I really wanted it.
Oh, but you don't.
No, so I started doing the whole like eat Johnnies and stuff, and then but like celebrate a year clean and go to meetings. And work
Eat Johnnies. What are
so it's like gabapentin. So like, back in the day, it was like sober houses
handfuls.
didn't detect it in your
right.
and so like. I was basically like pretending to be clean, and I wanted to hold on to that narrative so bad, because like, what a cool story, girlfriend died, he stayed clean forever. But like and then eventually it all came to shit, and I ended up back in treatment. And I remember there was a guy that was working at the treatment facility at the time, and and it's so funny, like, anybody that's listening to this, that's struggling, whatever, that's been in and out of treatment. At that point in my life, I had been in and out of treatment so many times. I've gone to all the groups. I've gone to treatment where I stay in my room and I don't go to any of the groups. I'm an asshole. I've gone where I carry the fucking book around with me. You know what I mean? And I'm telling people what meetings to go to. I've had all different levels of like how I am in treatment. And here I am years later, and it was the most profound thing that I'd ever heard in my life happened to me in a group. It was like a men's group, and the guy that ran the group was like, hey, let's go around the table. We're going to name a phenomenon. So phenomenon, something that happened to you that can't be explained. And I was like, fucking, all right, this is so corny. Phenomenon, dude. I can't think of any. I couldn't think. Nothing phenomenal had happened to me. And so it got to me, and I was like, I don't know, how about just being born? And the guy was like, that's the best answer all day.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he was like, do you know, he like got some of it from a TED talk,
Yeah,
but he
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, do you know
Like-
what the odds are of you being born?
It's like,
that
it's
whole
like
thing?
astronomical.
It's 1 in 400 trillion.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you stack $1 bill from here to the moon, it'll
Yeah.
go back and forth 14 times. Like to wrap your head around that 400 trillion, it's such a crazy number.
Yeah.
You can't even fathom it. And so I was able to like through the group, like talk it out and connect the pieces that like my dad needed to move from the Cape Verde Islands to the city that he moved to, work at the jewelry store he worked at. My mom came in to buy a chain for her boyfriend. A week later came in to return it because they broke up. My father asked her out on a date, and then they had to have sex in the exact second in time. If my father coughed before they started going at it, I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
As funny as it is, it's one cough, I'm not here.
Yeah.
It's that exact second in time. So never mind my grandparents and my great grandparents and all the way down the family tree. So it helped me like visualize how much of a miracle life is. And then I took Jill's 1 in 400 trillion. Like Jill's dad is gay. If Jill's dad came out of the closet when he was 18, Jill would have never been born. So I look at all her things. So like the fact that I was born and she was born, miracles. Then we met. Like we didn't just pass each other at a Stop and Shop. We like got to know each other and fell in love and had time together. So I was able to focus on like it painted a picture. I was able to focus on the miracle of life rather than the tragedy of of a loss. And I looked at it as like a beautiful thing, where like God, I'd trade places with her. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? If I could change it all, I change it all type stuff. But like it helped me shift my perspective on like how lucky we are. So even when because trust me, like even the last couple of years, I've gotten really depressed. I've had some really low moments without drugs, you know, even lower, I feel like, because you really feel it. And I'm able to like check myself and say, hey, Jill doesn't get to be depressed. She doesn't get to be stressed out. She doesn't get to have like a bad night's sleep. She doesn't get any of that. So the fact that I even get to experience any of that is a miracle. It's a blessing. And I have a chance to fucking turn it around. If I have a shitty 23 hours in a day, but 1 hour where I have a smile on my face, fucking Jesus, I'm lucky,
for sure.
you know? So it just changed everything. And that's when stuff started to like, I got out of treatment that time and stuff started to click and things started to change. And then I relapsed again, you know, and I just couldn't do it, dude. I couldn't do it. And this one was like the worst one. It got like really dark. And
what were you using?
Fentanyl mostly. And then like smoking weed. But that's pretty much it. And scary, you know what I mean? Because like when I started this journey, fentanyl wasn't really a thing. It wasn't even like nobody was doing it. And then so every time I'd relapse, I'd get scared. Like, I'm not doing that. You know, I just want to get high. I don't want to die, dude. You know? But then it just you know happened
it's
that
what you
way.
can get.
Yeah.
And things got really dark. And then what's so crazy about this time is I started buying Suboxone off the street. And I was taking like Kratom and Suboxone, trying to detox myself. And I did Suboxone for 5 days, just like ripping pieces in half and like
A little taper down.
that's it.
That was my vibe.
And then I ate Kratom, like the powder where you just drop it in my mouth and parachute it. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to a sober. I'm done. I'm going to go to a sober house
Did
for
that
3
get
months.
you off the fentanyl?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I there was this guy. His name was Mike
Did you have
Clancy.
to wait before you started taking the Suboxone? Or did you just...
I didn't know what I was doing, dude. Like I waited like enough where I didn't get like sick from the Suboxone. No, I was fine.
Wow.
I didn't feel great, but it wasn't like I didn't take it too soon where I was like
Precipitated.
I didn't have any of that. It was rough, but something had like it's not like this is now we're talking 2 years after Jill passed. You know what I mean? Nothing crazy happened. I attempted it with the Suboxone a couple times and failed. I tried that game for about 6 months and failed numerous times. Me and my roommate at the time were both failing. And I remember like nothing crazy happened. Wasn't this traumatic event. I just was like, I'm fucking done, dude, you know? Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to go to sober house for like 3 months and then leave and get my own place. But I need to get out of this apartment with this guy that I'm living with. Great guy, but like, we're not good for each other right now. And I had burnt so many bridges in the Cape because I was like the guy that can't stay clean.
Yeah.
Where like I was like, I don't have a good pulse. And I called a buddy, and his name's Shirts, because when he got clean, he'd wear like 6 shirts to meeting. So they call him Mikey 6 Shirts.
I fucking love that name, dude. That's such a good name.
His before and after picture is crazy, dude. But he would wear like 6 shirts to meet. So
I had a dude we called Legs.
Legs. Oh yeah,
Legs.
I knew a Legs, dude.
Yeah.
I knew a Legs once. But Shirts has like 3 kids. He's been clean for like 10 years. He got that name like 12. He's still Shirts, dude.
Yeah, he's got a bunch of shirts now.
Only wears one shirt now, dude. He wears like a button up or like a polo now. He works in treatment, but he's still Shirts, dude.
Listen, nobody wakes up one day and thinks, you know what'll be fun? Going to rehab. But sometimes life gets messy, and the bravest thing that you can do is admit that you need a reset.
At Oak Forest Recovery, we're not here to judge. We've been there. We know what it's like. We've been scared. We've been alone, using comedy and jokes to cover it all up. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. We have the tools, we've got the community, and we even have good coffee.
If you or someone you love is struggling, come see us. Healing doesn't have to be boring. It can even be fun, and we're here to help.
And I remember I called Shirts, and I was like, I don't have a good pulse. I'm like, I want to go to like a good house. And he was like, all right, I'll call this guy. I'm going to say his name too. Kevin Bolster, right? And I call this guy. And he was like, all right, he's got a bed for you. And I was just going to move in like day 1, no Suboxone, no Kratom, no weed, and just move into the house. And so I was like, I was ready to pack my stuff. I was like so ready, dude. And then I guess the guy, Kevin Bolster, asked around about me and didn't get good feedback, and then called Shirts and said, hey, tell that kid never mind.
Oh no.
And I was like, I'm not looking for acceptance to fucking UMass Boston, dude. This is a sober, like, what do you expect? You know, not that bad. So it just put this chip on my shoulder. And there was this guy, Mike Clancy, who owned a couple houses at the time that were like, had the best reputation. Like guys were staying clean and having fun. And it was like the house you wanted to go to, but he wouldn't even let you come from detox. You needed to go to further treatment. He didn't play around. But I was working at a Verizon at the time, selling cell phones. Like everybody that I worked with was in recovery, and he'd come in, and the houses were called Foundations. That was the name of his houses. And he'd come in, and I'd be like strung out, and he'd be like, Varela, when are you going to be a Foundations guy? I'd be like, fuck off, Clancy, get out of here. And I remember I called him, and I was like, I'm ready to be a Foundations guy. And he was like, all right, what treatment center are you at? I was like, I'm not in the treatment center. And he was like, when was the last time you got high? And I gave him and he was like, dude, I don't take people off the street. Never have. And I have a waiting list of like 10 people. And I was like, all right, it's fine. Like, I understand. And so at this point I was like, okay, I tried, you know, who knows what would have happened that night. And some kid got high in one of his houses, and my buddy Ryan was living there, and he texted me. And he was like, dude, don't tell Mike I told you, but someone just got kicked out. So I'm so manipulative. I texted Mike and I went, buddy, don't worry about it. God's got a funny way of working things out. So I planted like a little seed.
A little God seed.
And then he got to the house to like get the kid out of the house. And my buddy Ryan like cornered him, was like, you got to let Varela in here, dude. You got to let him in. And he like called around, and some people like, what are you doing, dude? But he loved taking the all-stars because in his head, you know, if an all-star in a bad way comes to my house,
get it.
If he gets it,
that's
here,
like me, man. I want the
good
fucked.
PR,
I want the most difficult ones, dude.
Yeah.
And so I remember driving home, and I get the call from him, and I'm like, I already knew before I answered. And he goes, all right, here's the deal. I was like, fuck yeah. And he was like, if you get high, man up, pack your shit. I don't want any of the okie doke and the urines. Like, he gave me the whole speech, and I was like, won't lay down, Mike. I'm not gonna lay down, dude. And so I moved in one day clean, dude. I moved in one day clean, and 3 months in, I got a place with this kid, and Mike was pissed. He's like, what are you doing? You're doing great. And I was like, this is my plan. I fucking did I got off it, didn't even go to treat. I'm like, I'm getting out, dude. I moved in with this kid that I thought was clean. 2 weeks into living with him, his 7-year-old daughter knocks on my door, and I'm doing great. Like, I'm locked in, laser focus. And his daughter was like, Dad's in the corner. He's not getting up.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, fuck. I didn't even register. I was like, fucking wake him up. And she goes, no, Dad's in the corner. He's not waking up. And my heart just sank, dude. And I go into his room and he's blue. And I had to drag him out into the floor and start CPR. And I'm freaking out. I got tears in my eyes. I call 911 on speakerphone, toss it on the bed. And I'm doing bop, 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 bop. Staying alive. Staying alive. I'm doing the chest compressions like they told me to. And it was during COVID. So all this was like the beginning of like COVID lockdown madness is when I did all this shit. And I brought him back just as the EMTs came in. They came in like hazmat suits because it was COVID. It was so weird.
Yeah.
And then I called Mike Clancy that night and I was like, you were right. I screwed up. I did it too early. Can I come back? And he said, yeah, absolutely, you can come back. He's like, you didn't get high? I was like, nah, you can fucking hair follicle me.
Yeah.
And he let me back in. And then I stayed for another month. And he just believed in me, dude. And so he had a grad house that you couldn't live there unless you had a year or more clean. And it was only 5 guys in the house. Everyone wanted a bed at the grad house. And at 4 months clean, he was like, Varela, do you want to go to the grad house? And I was like, yeah, dude. And I moved in there. And then I was like, I'm going to stay a year. And then he opened a treatment center, Foundations Group Recovery Centers. He's in Ohio. He's all over Massachusetts right now. He's like killing it, dude. He's helping a lot of people. And I was still working at Verizon. He's like, I'm opening a treatment center. Do you want a job? And I was the 3rd person he hired. I did business development for him for a little bit. And I was like, oh, I'm going to stay in the grad house for a year. The year came around. I was like, all right, I'm looking at places. And he goes, you really want to move? You know, you've never done this good. I was like, I've been here a year. How long do you want me to stay? He goes, another year. And I just went, all right. And I was like, I'm done. I'm just going to listen to what he says. Wants me to stay another year, I'll stay another year, whatever. And I stayed another year. And then he became like one of my best friends and sort of like took me under his wing. And then like I spread, and then this is where things get like a little dark, little curveball, where like, and I haven't like talked about this a lot online. I did alluded to it a little bit on my buddy Bean Shooter's podcast, who, you know,
Bean Shooter.
Look him up.
Oh, I will.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great. You'll get a kick out of him. So something happened. Basically, I don't want to get into it because it's none of my business really, but like we couldn't no longer be friends anymore. And I moved off Cape to be closer to my son. At that point, I lived like 45 minutes away from him. So I moved to where he was 5 minutes up the street. And I was like, I sort of put the Cape and recovery and everything behind me. And I was in Miami and I had a beer.
Oh.
And I got real nervous. Like it happened real quick. And I got really nervous. And I had this thought pop into my head where it was like, all right, I got 3 options. It was like, now I go balls to the wall, or I go back home and I go to a meeting and raise my hand and do that whole rigmarole, or I don't tell anyone and just see how this goes. And I've had, out of anybody I've ever met in my 10 years plus in and out of the halls, like it never works out. It might have worked out for like 4 or 5 people, but out of the hundreds I've seen try it, it hadn't worked out for them. And so I drank like under the radar. Like I'd go on dates or I'd go to Celtics games or I'd go on trips for like a year before I told anybody. And then finally, like I told Mike Clancy and I told my mom and I told my son's mom and I told my dad and I told my sister. Because I went a year and everything was fine. Like I had no desire to use like, you know, drugs or anything like that, even though I know alcohol's a drug, period, all that stuff. And I felt okay, you know? And a person that I confided in was like, if you feel okay, why are you still hiding it?
Oof.
You know? And I was like, all right, cat's out, let's tell people, dude. Let's have this conversation. And I sat and I talked to my family about it, and that was it. The cat was out of the bag. And then I never like binge drank or drank alone. It was none of that stuff. But without the program in my life, like I slipped in like a deep, dark depression. And I was like, not like maybe like if the situation called for it, I would drink. I wasn't even drinking that often, you know, but I reached this like weird crossroad where it was like, am I going to go back to recovery just to make friends? You know what I mean? And like not be depressed when I haven't been struggling with substances. Like I was at such like a weird place in my life. And it was like the last couple of years, like things just got like so dark. And here I am all of a sudden, like, well, all that was happening with Mike taking me under his wing and me working at the treatment center, the social media stuff happened by accident at the same time. Like there was I'm 36 years old. There was no like, I'm going to be an influencer or whatever you want to call it. Like my friend Jackie was like, you got to get on TikTok. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
I've got to meet clients that have come, through finding O-Forest through my platform. And I think that's been one of the most special things. And then seeing them, I've seen people come in the beginning, and then I've seen them, at Bonfire or after, and seeing like the light come back in their eyes and what a great experience they're having. And this new, community that they have now that could last for the rest of their lives and has set them up like for a successful recovery. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things.
Like I would just do rants, and I was just in my car. I talked about an awkward interaction I had with a girl at Planet Fitness, and my voice cracked, and I posted it, and it got like 1 million views. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to figure that I can make money doing this. I'm going to figure this out. And so I started to like try to find a niche, and then it exploded to where it is now. And then so back to what I was talking about before, is like, here I am, where I have like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that are like, we're so proud of you. You're so incredible. You're so funny. You're so this, you're so that. I have such a positive following base. And like, I didn't want to talk about what I was going through because I didn't want to send the wrong message to anybody listening that might be struggling with substance use and thinking about staying clean, or anybody that was like in the program that had been doing well for whether it was 3 months or 13 years, see me be okay, in a sense, drinking socially and not going back to drugs. I didn't even want to like put that out there. But now I'm suffering in silence because I have nobody to talk to about it. Because I would go to my community and I would do these mental health walks and I would talk about recovery and da-da-da. And as soon as I switched to the dark side, whatever you want to call it, I felt like there was no voice for me. There was no, it was like AA, NA, or die. That's what I was taught, And so I'm going to go talk about this online. I don't want to send the wrong message to people, but at the same time, I want to stay true to myself, And I don't want to like stay silent and then it's like I'm being fake, where if I don't correct somebody on it, I'm sort of lying to them about where I'm at in my recovery, So I just like stayed quiet, and as somebody like me is if you guys couldn't tell, I don't shut up. It was the worst thing I could do. So I slipped into this like deep, dark depression because I had no home. Right. And so then I thought to myself, it was like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like, am I just going to like go back to like the meetings and stuff like that? Just because like I'm lonely, you know what I mean? Or like, am I going to go get a 9 to 5 because I'm lonely? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean? But like, I'm the best dad I've ever been in my life. You know what I mean? And that's been my main focus. And, but the mental health stuff, I just like struggled in silence. And then I got to be the funny guy online day in and day out. And I would just like flip a switch. And all of a sudden it was like, can we go through some of the things? And I'd be jumpy, and as soon as I'd hit end and the video was done, I'm in my bed, dude, and it got really dark for a while. Wow. And then stand-up comedy kind of saved me a little bit, where I was like, I need to find a hobby. I need to meet people. I need to get out. And last winter was so bad, like I alluded to earlier, it was the worst I've ever struggled in my life from a mental health standpoint. And I went to stand-up comedy and I started doing it, and it gave me like a little bit of a bump to like do the other things that I needed to do, seek out outside help, go to therapy, get healthy, like do certain things to like beat this, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, at the end of the day, like I've just gotten so tired, dude. I'm 36 years old, been at it since I was 15. Like I just want to be all right, Yeah. but I've just felt, and you two would be great to talk to about it, because I haven't really talked about it in like a spotlight setting like this. I've had private conversations about it, but I've just been in like such a weird place, like living like, I don't even know how to explain it, like in between the lines. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I have no home. It's like this, you know what I mean? Like after so long in recovery, like I never want to get on a platform and be anti-AA or anti-NA and bash, because without it, I'd be long gone. You know what I mean? But like, I really felt like, for me anyways, like I hung on to it too long in a sense where it was like, it was too much. I was reminded of it too much, where like meetings, even if I spaced them out, or like, even if I stopped working in treatment, it was like, I need to like move on from that. Like, I can't remember the last time someone called me and said, "Oh, did you hear about Johnny? He's gone. I don't get any of those texts, any of those calls." And it's helped me in a way, like where I don't even think about drugs anymore. Where even when I was doing really well in recovery, it was always up front, because I had to keep it up front. I'm doing step work. I'm talking to my sponsor. I'm doing all the stuff I'm supposed to do. Where I get nervous to talk about my experience and my feelings on what I need to do and what I needed to do, and kind of leaving that group of people and stuff behind me, because it's like, I don't want to stray anyone. I have a lot of power here with by accident with all the people that watch me. So let me just be funny and shut the fuck up. I don't want to like talk about that sort of stuff, but then it's like, who do I talk to about it, dude? You know, because I'm at such I
think it's interesting that you bring it up. We've talked about this.
We've talked about this a lot of times, actually.
We actually had a guest on. This guy's name's Dr. Paul Hirsch, and you should actually look him up. He's got an Instagram, and he's a therapist. So he's a doctor
really cool.
of psychology. He's dope, dude. He's like he's a great dude.
Yeah.
And
was he the one talking about shooting up watching TV?
We haven't even put his episode.
Oh, you haven't
yet.
put it up yet.
It's coming out February 1st or February 2nd.
No, that's Dopey Dave. That's
Dave.
another. Yeah. Okay. I gotta put you two in contact.
But Paul, dude, he got sober, and he stayed sober. I think it was 10 years in AA. Right? Like got a sponsor, he did the whole thing. Like he did the jam, like he was all in, right? And at 10 years sober, he like was like, I don't know if I really have this problem. And he was like, I think I can drink alcohol. And it's been like 30 years.
He's been successful.
He drinks like a normal person.
Yeah.
Right.
But for him, his whole thing, and he talks about it in the podcast, like when it comes out, you should watch it, because he talks about it. It's like the dude he stays in integrity.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Right? Like he still is tight with all the people that he knew from sobriety.
Right.
He's still cool with everybody that is in AA that he knows. He's not sponsoring people and like in AA.
Yeah.
But he's like in integrity, where he's like, he drinks wine with his wife a few times a week, or goes out, never gets shit-faced, never went back to drugs, and has done it for 30 years. And his whole thing is like, I'm just in integrity about it. Like, this is just who I am. This is how it works. It's been fine. And I think there are people that can go back. I've seen people, I own a treatment center, and I've watched a lot of people come in, and I've had really good friends that in the beginning
we're down bad.
Well, because I was like an AA zealot for like a long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what you said, AA, NA, or die. Like,
right.
You're fucking working the 12 steps and sponsoring your fucking
You're
like
die.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Like what the fuck, dude? I can't even talk to you if you're not doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've seen people come in, work the steps, get through the steps, sponsor people, stay sober for years, and then go and drink and be able to use it, not even just drinking, like smoking weed, and dabbling a little bit, going to some parties, and like they've been fine for years. Yeah. For years. But the ones that I've seen be fine, kind of like what Paul was talking about, they were super open about it. Like they were just super like,
it's when you hide it, then you get in the shame.
Because that's the
and
part
then it's
that I think
like,
makes
you know,
you
but I
so
also
depressed.
I think you're considering your platform and you don't want to, because certain people will see it and be like, oh, he can fucking do it.
It's a weird thing that like anybody in my shoes, like the platform is like, it's such a unique thing. Like how many people are in my exact situation with the platform? It just adds an element to it.
But I think if you're honest about that and you're like, hey, like this is what fucking saved my life in the beginning, and then here's like where I went, and here I'm feeling fucked up about it because I don't know what to say, and I do not want anyone to be influenced by this because it's not typical in these situations. I think that your audience would really appreciate that.
What caused you to choose to become a part of the Oak Forest team?
The first time you came out, I was like, oh my gosh, this is my family. These are my best friends now. And I immediately felt very drawn to the Oak Forest community. I think it's really beautiful, from just the bonfire meeting and people not even necessarily needing to go through Oak Forest to go to that. And then also knowing that they have this safe community, or if someone needs help, they can go through this program that has changed so many lives. I love that it's like a family and tribe, like you call it. From seeing how many people have gone through there and then decide to work at Oak Forest and help others and want to stay in that community because they love it so much, I think that's truly something I haven't seen anywhere else.
Because I
know it's scary.
It is.
It's scary.
I overthink.
Yeah.
I overthink a lot.
No, but I mean, it's a valid thing because you're concerned that you're going to put out the wrong message. And I get that. But at the same time, you being behind a screen and not being authentic to yourself is ultimately going to fuck you in the long run, because then you're going to be big. Yeah, it's going to fuck you. And then you're going to be big sad. And then, who knows? Right. It's just, you got to be authentic and open and honest. I think there's a way. Ask chat.
You love ChatGPT. You love ChatGPT. But I think
things like that, is just like, how do I say this without fucking someone up and being, you know what I mean?
I think what you're saying though is just like, dude, you're talking about integrity. That's what you're talking about, right? You're like, I'm presenting this way, and then like I get off and I'm like in my bed depressed, right? And it's like this idea of like, I have no home because I haven't really declared like who I am, right? And yet, like, I think the cool thing about like Dr. Paul's story is like, because he declared who he is and because he's in integrity, like they're all his home. Right. Does that make sense? Like AA is still his home. Right. Yeah. Right. Like, and he helps a ton of dudes that are in AA in his therapeutic practice. And that for you, that's like your platform. Right. Right. Like, and he still preaches AA. Like he's all about it. Like when a fucking drug addict is coming to him and he's talking, he's like, bro, you got to go get a sponsor. Yeah. You got to go to AA. You got to fucking do the deal. Like I did it for 10 years. It fucking saved my life. You know what I mean? Like he has a place to talk to it from, right? Like you did it. You did the deal. I also think that today, like there's, dude, how many treatment centers are there?
There's so many. Don't get started.
How many people end up in treatment? Yeah. Right? That are like, it says in the big book, like there is the hard drinker and there's the alcoholic. You know what I mean? And like, I think that there's a lot of fucking people that are the hard drinker that end up in treatment centers because it's just kind of the thing to do. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of fucked off. You're young. You're like experimenting. You go too far. You can't stop. Like you end up fucking going to these places. Like, are you the real alcoholic?
Right. Yeah. And maybe against all odds podcast, like this will be like a new turning point for me. You know what I mean? I'm serious. I don't mean to make you laugh like that, but I'm serious. I just
shot a booger out of my nose.
Like, I wish I caught it. But like, I did need recovery for as long as I was in it to meet the people that I met, and like, people taught me so much. Like I didn't know how to do laundry before. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to. I didn't have a debit card. I didn't know how to do anything. Right. And I needed 3 years of being completely clean from all mind altering substances to like get my brain back on track.
You had to rewire it.
Although that first drink didn't go the way that, like, it wasn't like a really thought out, conscious decision to be like, okay, I've been doing great. I've talked to people about it. I waited out. I just kind of was in Miami and I was like, Corona hit me. And then, you know what I mean? And then I thought about it after, which was dangerous and I don't recommend it, but it's worked out. And I think maybe, you know, being open about it on a platform such as this, where like, obviously like my followers are going to tune in, would be a good start for me, because I do feel like I have a lot to offer. I do feel like I could help a lot of people, especially people that are like dealing with loss.
Right.
And maybe to take some of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Where it's like,
dude, here's what I learned. This is a piece that I really learned. Like in my first number of years, let's just say 5 years, 6 years, I was so like, just, it was this way and this is the only way.
Yeah.
Right?
Or you die.
Yeah.
And if somebody did not do the way, or if they went and drank or whatever, it was like, you're fucking out, dude. You know what I mean?
Don't sit with us.
Yeah.
And it's fucked up. I now am like, that's fucked up.
Right.
Right. Like, I think that's fucked up. And I think that there's so many different ways that recovery can look. And I don't think there's a one size fits all.
Yeah.
Right. But I do believe that like working the 12 steps is super crucial. Like, and I love the story of like, I fucking did it and I went to the fucking places and I did the deal and I stayed sober for a number of years. And then I've went back out and fucking, it's been all right.
Right.
Right. Like, I think, but like that story I think is still important, you know, like I just think it is, man.
Yeah. I think it can take, if someone's like new to it, it can take some of the pressure off.
For sure.
Like, dude, all you have to worry about right now is like, just stay clean, go to meetings.
Right.
Worry
Who
about
knows
that
what
down the
happens
road.
down the line. Yeah. Don't fucking
100%.
worry
I
about
used to
it.
get overwhelmed where it was like, rest of my life,
Yeah.
dude, I can't have
Yeah, you can't think of
tequila.
it. I know, me too. And I
Yeah.
didn't even like drinking. I was a fucking heroin addict.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, you're telling me that when I'm celebrating this job promotion, I can't have a glass of champagne?
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm like unemployed, like have none of these things. But those are the things that would go through my brain. And you can't think that far. Who fucking knows?
Right.
Yeah.
You know? Who knows?
I just think that everybody's story is unique and it's important and everybody is different and not everybody is, you know, not everybody's the same, man, you know?
Yeah.
I think
and
it all
it's-
looks different.
I think it, like when I started to get vulnerable with my social media, I noticed like people loved that. Like people really loved that.
sure.
And it helped me with the content. Because I told people, I was like, listen, I know I'm funny, but I don't feel like the funny guy a lot of days. You know what I mean? I'd love to be able to jump on here and just kind of vent and whatever. And it made me look at like this bullshit that I'm building online as like more of a reflection of who I truly am rather than a shtick.
Yeah.
And then people gravitate towards that.
Yeah.
They love that, you know? And then with what we were just talking about before, I kind of like pressed the brake on it a little bit because I was like, I'm leaving some parts out and now I feel fake. So rather than be fake, I'm just going to like just be the funny guy again. And now I'm like dreading. I'm like, oh, I gotta post
because
a video.
it's easy.
People want a video.
Yeah.
It's like how I feed my kids. So I got to do a video. And it's like, I start to hate it, but hopefully like, you know, against all odds, coming and talking to you guys about it, like it'll give me like, hey, fuck that. Like I'm gonna speak my truth. I'm gonna talk about it and make sure, you know, I do have a responsibility.
Bro, I think you will resonate with so many people.
I
think
agree.
You will resonate with so many people.
I think you need to look at that fear in there and be like, okay, just fucking
so many
send
fears
it.
in there.
Yeah, it's all, you know, it's all fear. It's scary. But I think that a lot of people need to hear that. And then I feel like the response you're going to get is not going to be, just be, you know, be careful. Like how you know, you're a little worried. Just be careful how you word things or whatever. Don't be like, hey guys, let's all fucking go meet at the bar right now and relapse together. But I think
Tell
if you're
the
just
story as I'm ripping shots or something like yeah. Try, hey, you know,
welcome
I'm
to
doing
drunk
all right.
story time.
Because if I like have a fun night, I'm like, I'm staying off the social medias, dude. God only knows what I would say right now. I'm staying off.
Yeah, but I think that's also unfortunate. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I think so many things are rooted, not to say like brainwashing, but I think with certain things that we learn and the fear behind it. And like, if I don't do something this way, like I was like RJ in the beginning of my recovery. I was like, subs are not fucking sober. I was very like big book.
Yeah.
Like when I got sober, I got fucking sober. And I was around all these old timers that were telling me this. And they had all these fucking judgmental views on things. And it wasn't until like my first year or two, I was very much like, I was a dope head. If you can't fucking do it this exact way, then it doesn't fucking count. You're not fucking clean. And who the fuck am I?
Right.
And I learned, thank God.
Don't even raise your hand.
No, literally. I was, and I had that mindset. I was like, and I look at it now, I'm like, who the fuck am I to say what someone else's recovery looks like?
Right.
To say what someone else's recovery is, if they are fucking recovered from like a hopeless state of mind and they're living a functional life where they're fucking happy, it's none of my fucking business. And I'm happy for you. If you're not fucking, down bad how you were, hell yeah.
Right.
And I think that there's a million different ways that can look like. I know a lot of people back home in New York, all of us got strung out on oxys and roxys and heroin. And there is a lot of people that I met that never really worked a program, and they got their time separated from the opiates, and maybe they just had a physical dependence, and we all got caught up, and they're all fucking normal now. I think it's a thing that is kind of not, people are afraid to talk about it, but I think it needs to be talked about more.
In your experience with treatment, how special is Oak Forest?
Oak Forest is very special. I've had my fair share of treatment experiences. I've even worked in treatment myself. And Oak Forest is like something I've never really experienced before. And I think that it's almost something that like cannot be replicated anywhere else, at least from what I've seen, right? And so it's just like this community and the love and the support that goes from the beginning of the process, and not even just with the clients, with the families, with everything else. Like everything that I have seen goes above and beyond. And like beyond, even as like all of these people are being employed long after they have completed treatment, right? And I think that right there says everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think it needs to be talked about because it's like, you know what I mean? Like for me, like there's
you're in the shame.
No
I feel like
there's no one talking about it. You know what I mean? So
Do
it's
you
like
feel
I'm
like
not gonna be the one to fucking break the mold.
Yeah. Do you feel like your 12-step people have kind of kicked you out? Like have the people you've told do you feel like they've been like, oh, you can't hang out with us anymore? Or are they like supportive from afar?
Talk to some of them.
But not like how it was.
Well, because it was there was some circumstances, you know what I mean? Where I don't want to like make anyone that might be listening uncomfortable.
Okay.
But essentially, like one of my friends, him and his wife had issues and she ended up hating me.
Okay.
So I got like, and I didn't do anything wrong. I just want to say that for the record. But I ended up getting ousted from the friend group, like, like right after I had moved off Cape and on my own and stuff like that. So I like lost my group of friends by default.
Oh, before any of this.
Okay,
got it.
Got
it.
Right at the same time when I like moved and stuff. So it was just like, I kind of just separated myself from everyone. And I still, but it was just.
So have you just been like, have you not really had any community around you besides like the internet?
None.
Okay, well, there's your fucking problem.
Yeah, no,
dog.
That's
it. Like that's it. I know when I'm a self isolator and I get in points, and even with my like all of my besties on the internet, like I have an alarming amount of community, or sometimes too much. I actually would argue a little too much for me. Sometimes I'm a chronic isolator, and when I get like that, even for a little bit of time, I am so fucking mentally unwell with a quickness.
Yeah.
So if you're going prolonged, like community, regardless if you're in, like you got to find, you need your people. You need people to talk to. You need something.
Right. And that's because it becomes like, I know you can like isolation becomes like an anxiety blanket where it's like your worst enemy, but it's your best friend because it feels so cozy, but it's bad. It's
bad.
Like
no, it's terrible.
And that's why it was like, I was saying earlier, it's like, do I go back to the program just to make friends? Do I go get a job at 7-Eleven so I have coworkers? You know what I mean? So the stand-up helped a little bit, but like, I just like push people away. I think that I have like, some stuff that I haven't dealt with when it comes to like abandonment and loss and trauma and stuff like that.
Are you in therapy at all?
So I go on and not like, I need to go back. I made a promise to somebody back home that by the time I land back in Boston, I'm gonna have a therapist all lined up. I made a promise, but I was thinking about this the other day. So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this or you can relate to this, but I just was on a cruise ship
I saw your pictures.
Solo, Tony Boats.
Yeah.
I went solo cruising, and you ever get near a balcony that's high up? And
no, I can't fuck around with that.
Your brain goes jump. Jump,
Oh,
jump,
yeah,
jump,
yeah,
jump,
yeah,
jump,
yeah.
jump, jump,
Yeah,
jump,
yeah. Just do it.
Jump, do it.
I can't even be up high.
Yeah.
So I looked it up, and it's like from PTSD and trauma.
Oh, yeah.
So if that voice in your head is going jump, jump, jump. So I have like, even though I did like my focus was so much like obviously on the drugs and like stuff to like, it was all about like getting off of them and and doing the inner work and healing and, you know, having a connection to a higher power and all that stuff. I just feel like I felt like I won because I don't have the desire anymore to get high and I drink like a quote unquote normal person.
Yeah.
I hung on to that for so long and I felt like I won, but like there's still so much inside that I need to work on. And I'm getting to that like realization of like, you did good, that you're not using drugs anymore, but you didn't win. You still got like a lot of stuff that you need to deal with. And I just been kind of holding that like win as a trophy. Like I don't need to do anything else. The hard part's over for me. I'm not doing drugs. Everyone's so proud of me. I'm loved. I got, you know, all these fans and followers and people ask me for pictures, and my dad went from hating me to like, now he can't shut up about me. My sister is a Harvard graduate. Perfect person. Now I'm the favorite. I won. I did great. But like, I've been struggling inside, dude. I've been really hurting. And it's been hard to like break those isolation patterns.
It's hard.
You know, especially when it's like, I have like easy income. I'm not like here I am doing like, I do all these videos from like my couch, mostly it's me ranting, green screen bullshit. Like there's no fancy cameras. There's no staff. Like it's just, and I'm making all this money doing it. And it's like, it's great. You know, I'm very grateful for all this stuff, but like I need to get it together when it comes to like the mental health stuff. Cause it's been a struggle, and I go through like spurts of like being all right. And then long spurts of just like, they call it like bed rotting, where I've just been like
I go through the same thing.
Scrolling, jerking off, friggin' DoorDash. I've been DoorDashing from a restaurant that's 0.6 miles away from my house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then when I have my son, a switch goes off.
Yeah.
And I'm super dad.
Because it gives you, I'm the same way with my kids. There's certain days where from the second that my kids are at school to the second that I pick them up, you know, whenever, I am literally.
Feel great.
I feel terrible when I'm like fucking not well, but there are times where I will do that for like weeks straight where I won't. It's bad. It's just, let's just say it gets really bad. And I think that doing what we do is a blessing in so many ways, but also if I'm already kind of like mentally ill by default, you know, like I think I was born this way. And so if there's not this like routine and this purpose for myself in the moment, it's a lot harder for me to get up and really do some shit. When my kids are home, I gotta fucking get up. I have to do things, right? It's like, so every afternoon, but I have times where when no one else is with me, I will fucking rot for as long as I can. And not talk to anyone and not pick up the fucking phone for anyone. Literally watch my phone ring like this and then get texts about it. And then, you know, and it's just like that whole spiral of, so you're not alone in that.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just need therapy. You know, that's real. A lot of it. Probably EMDR. Like there's probably a lot of deep healing.
I tried the medication route last year. Not a fan.
Yeah.
I did, like, because I had never been able to do it because it was like, whatever you give me, I'm going to eat all of them. You know what I mean? And now that I was at a different place in my life, I was like, let me try it, you know? And I, for the first time ever, like, let's try medication. And it was like, all right, what's going on? All right, we're going to give you this. We're going to start at the low dose, and then you're going to come back in 3 weeks. All right, we're going to increase the dose. Now we're going to add this. And I was like, not for me. Not doing it.
I feel like typically meds never worked for me either. But typically there's got to be some kind of also like healing, you know, some kind of shit you're doing yourself on top of the medication that can also marry those two together to actually fucking work.
Yeah.
You know?
We're gonna try the therapy.
Yeah.
Though I was doing good with the walks for a while, the mental health walks.
I was gonna say,
Dude.
just a good routine.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
A good routine
Big fucking
can fucking
time.
change so much
Yeah.
in your life. Like if you can set a routine, you know what I mean, that works for you. It doesn't have to be like some crazy thing, like I'm up at 4 and fucking, you know what I mean. But like some sort of routine,
Right.
Like where it's Monday through Friday, I get up at this time, I do this, I do this, I do this, where it's just preset. You know what I mean? Dude, it does so much.
It does.
Yeah,
it really does.
I think like I struggle with like laziness and motivation
Yeah.
so bad,
Right.
dude. And it's like
That's what I mean, like, because those things can be small wins,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like those
Do you
things,
shit
like,
talk yourself? You have to like gaslight. What I do is I'm like and this is probably, I don't recommend this for everyone, but I have to talk to myself like such a piece of shit. Like I have to
leave voice
really.
notes for myself.
Do you?
Yeah,
And you're
I'll be
like, get
"You
the fuck, you fucking
loser. What are you doing, dude?" Yeah.
Okay, same. Okay, so that's what and that will take me a minute. Like it has to build up to the point where I'm like, all right, like I'm
Get it
such in
together.
shambles right now, and I'm in enough pain and mental anguish that I will fucking do something because I'm
Right.
hard headed, and it takes me a minute to like do that, but it really does work. Listen, nobody wakes up one day and thinks, you know what'll be fun? Going to rehab. But sometimes life gets messy, and the bravest thing that you can do is admit that you need a reset.
At Oak Forest Recovery, we're not here to judge. We've been there. We know what it's like. We've been scared. We've been alone, using comedy and jokes to cover it all up. The good news is you don't have to do it alone. We have the tools, we've got the community, and we even have good coffee.
If you or someone you love is struggling, come see us. Healing doesn't have to be boring. It can even be fun, and we're here to help. Or just doing it like for me when I drop my youngest goes to school at the ass crack of them. Like his school starts so fucking early for kindergarten. It's disgusting, but I haven't been honestly lately. Winter really fucks me up. But what I plan to do is my routine is like, as soon as I drop him off, I go for a little walk around the fucking park. And I just try to push myself. And that action alone has like set the tone for the whole rest of my day. If I don't fucking do that, I'm so much more likely to rot and just be like a lazy piece of shit. And then also just have all this negative self-talk like going on in my brain, and I'll be uninspired and I'll be a fucking bitch and I'm unmotivated. If I do one little thing where I'm moving my body and I'm outside and I'm like seeing fucking clouds and shit, and I'm like, hey God, what's up? It like makes my whole day so fucking different. So if you can just, it doesn't have to be like a whole fucking thing. This is what I try to tell people. It can start with like the smallest little action. And then all of a sudden, if you keep doing that and you make it a habit, then you add another little thing on and another little thing. And then all of a sudden you're a fucking mentally well.
Right.
Wellness.
Imagine that.
The picture of health.
Watch out.
Yeah.
Against all odds.
Yeah. So when did you first blow up on social media?
God. I mean, so to me, like blowing up has meant it's like you have your first $10,000. You know what I mean? You've never seen $10,000 in your life. Now you want 100,000. You get 100,000. You want a million. You know what I mean? So like me now, I feel like I still haven't blown up. You know what I mean? Because like,
But when did it first start to taking off? Like your first?
I'd say like 4 years ago, maybe.
Okay.
I was living in sober living, and I made that video where I my friend Jackie Donovan was like, because I had Snapchat, and this was before Snapchat. You could go viral on Snapchat. It was just your friends, whoever you added. And I'd go in the supermarket, and some lady would like not know how to drive a car. And I'd get in the car and be like, fucking, what's with people at Stop and Shop? Blah, 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 blah. And I'd go in, my friends would love it. And I'd be delivering pizzas or something and say something funny into the phone. And my friend Jackie started following me through my friend Franny, because Franny would do this thing at the sober houses over the years where I really looked up to the kid. And he's like, he still struggles on and off, but I still believe in him. If he ever gets it together, he could fucking take over the world. This kid is incredible. I was just talking to him yesterday about sports betting. I was telling him it's not going to end well for him.
Yeah.
And he would do this thing at the sober house where like he'd have his phone out and he'd be secretly recording me. And he'd be like, Varela, how was your day? And I'd get all jazzed up to tell him about my day. And then he'd point the camera in my face and go, nobody cares, Anthony.
Yeah.
And I'd have like a...
That's where the name comes from?
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And so I'd have like this once I know he's recording, I'd have this over the top reaction. Why do you always do that? And I'd do the voice or whatever. And people loved it. So people started following me on my Snapchat because of his Nobody Cares videos. This is years ago, before any of before TikTok was even invented. You know, this is like Vine days and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I had Instagram. I just had Facebook, like an OG, you know. And my friend Jackie Donovan was like, "You gotta get on TikTok, Anthony. I'm telling, it's the way of the world." And I was like, "I'm not doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever I was at the time."
That's like how you felt too, right?
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm not doing that, dude." And she was like, "Just do the videos you've already done on Snapchat. You don't need to do any dances.
It's just the same shit.
Just
and
put them on
post
there."
And I did like the first like 2 or 3. It was like 75 views, 118 views. And then I think it was like the 4th video I ever posted. It was me talking about like I was at a Planet Fitness and there was a new girl working there that was like really hot, right? And I'm fucking, this is back when I was, you know what I mean? But I was doing, and I noticed her and I'm like, is she looking over here? You know how, you know what I mean? I'm like, I think she's looking at me, dude, you know?
You're doing the whole monologue.
Yeah. So, but because I know at the end of my workout, I got to walk by her at the desk. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking about my walk, like how's the walk going to be? You know what I mean? I'm all in my head about it. I want to be as cool looking as possible. But she works there, right? So obviously when somebody at the gym leaves, they're going to say, have a good day.
Yeah.
She's not singling me out. She's have a good day-ing everybody that walks up. So I walk by her and she's like, have a good day. And I go, have a good one. And my voice just cracks, dude. And then I go to open the door and it's a push and I pull it. So it's just dude. And I push it out and then I walk out to my car and I was so defeated. I sat in my car and I just went like this. All right, I'm just at the gym and I just told the story that and then that took off and it got like 1 million views. And then after that, I remember being at work and then I started to like, that got me to like maybe 6,000 or 7,000 followers on TikTok alone. I still didn't even download Instagram yet, I don't think. Or I had it and it was like just friends or whatever. And so now I'm like, I need to find my own lane. You know, I need to like, let's get creative.
What's my niche?
Strategic genius. Let's figure it out. So I started reading off the misconnection sections of Craigslist. Oh, God. Because they get real weird. It's like, I saw you in Home Depot.
Yeah.
I know that wasn't a hammer in your pocket. You know what I mean? Next time you're there, meet me in the bathroom. And they get real weird. It's like a lot of weird stuff on there. And so I'd read that and people loved it. But it was like TikTok started taking them down. So it was too
fucked up.
Yeah, and people were like talking code in there and be like, I need my driveway plowed. Does anyone have a big truck to back into my, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I was like, I need a little bit more family friendly. And so I was in these town Facebook groups. Every town has its own Facebook group. And I was just in the town that I lived in and some lady was like bitching about a guy like collecting rocks at the beach. You know, the rocks, you're not supposed to take them. And now everyone's arguing in the comments. And I did that. And I could tell like, oh, people loved it. Right? And then I joined every town in Massachusetts, their Facebook group, and just waiting for something.
Free content.
Just waiting for something, dude. And there's a town called Plymouth, Massachusetts, where something popped off, dude. Where like this girl made a post trying to find a job for her like deadbeat boyfriend. First comment was like, oh, maybe if he showed up to interviews, he'd have a job. Now people in this town are just bashing this. Why can't he find his own job? Why does he need you? And it's like a beautiful, nice town, Plymouth Rock. Where, you know, the Mayflower landed and everything. And this nice town of people just going at each other. And I highlighted that. And that was my first like real viral video. Got like 6 million views. I ended up on like the news and shit. And I remember at this time I'm working in treatment. We had just opened the treatment center. And I remember like being with DeLacy, the lady that was in the front office, and like looking at my phone. And I was like, 700,000, DeLacy. I just posted it this morning. She's like, nah, refreshed 1.2. Like, DeLacy, this is it. And then the clinical director came in and she was like, Varela, you got to cover me. You got to do this group for me. And I would do groups. I would just sit, and the whole group was like, "I'm just making it about me and tell my whole life story." You know? I'm not a clinician. I don't know what I'm. We're just gonna hear my story. You guys are gonna clap, and then we're gonna go smoke cigarettes. And so I started the group. I was like, I don't know if you guys saw, but going viral right now. I don't know how much longer I'm going to work here, but it's not going to be long. You guys are going to be seeing this face a lot more. And everyone's laughing, rolling their eyes. And I was like, I'm telling you, dude, I'm going to be a household name. Just kind of half joking, half serious. And then from there, I got like super interested in it. And then what happened was the smartest thing I ever did was I encouraged people to send me their town Facebook groups from across the country.
Yeah, submit
stuff to
Give me submissions.
So now I'm not sitting and waiting. Now my inbox is flooded with screenshots.
Oh my God.
And all of a sudden I do some drama. Some guy cheated on his wife in Topeka, Kansas, and it's blasted all over the town Facebook group. Now people would tell me for that week I'm the talk of Topeka, Kansas. Now I have fans in Topeka, Kansas.
Oh my God, this is so great.
So instead of just Massachusetts,
you're infiltrating all these different towns across America.
Yes, and then you have the Boston accent, and someone in Seattle's listening to it, and they're like, I fucking love this guy just because of how I sound.
Yeah.
And then it just took off from there, and then it sort of transformed because then people would just send me anything now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Do this.
Facebook Marketplace, weird Tinder message from some dude, an email from their boss, whatever it is.
I've seen first. I've got to meet clients that have come, through finding O Forest through my platform. And I think that's been one of the most special things. And then seeing them, I've seen people come in the beginning, and then I've seen them, at Bonfire or after, and seeing like the light come back in their eyes and what a great experience they're having. And this new, community that they have now that could last for the rest of their lives and has set them up like for a successful recovery. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things.
So it just turned into like, send me whatever. And if I think it's funny, so I get thousands a day.
Wow.
Thousands a day. And I kind of just like filter through it on my own.
Yeah, and you cherry pick the best ones.
Like,
and then
okay,
fucking...
this one's so good. Like I love like anything like Asian related, like misspelled Chinese food items and stuff like that. I love that shit. And like I had a couple videos go crazy in China. All of a sudden, like I'm looking at my notifications, all these Chinese people follow me. They loved it. Yeah. I'm doing like a fake Chinese accent. They're like, dude, that was so great. That was so funny, And it just sort of just took off from there. And I've been trying to find like ways to diversify my content. Because that's like the advice that I've gotten from like people that do like brand deals and stuff like that. It's like, you got to diversify. Every video can't be a green screen of a fucking Facebook Marketplace ad. And in my head, I'm like, but the people love it. That's what they want.
Yeah. Give them what they want.
Yeah. So I've been trying to find ways to kind of like spread my wings. I'd love to do like pretty much I can do anything and put like a comedic spin on it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I do travel content and be funny. I could...
Was the cruise were you there with like a brand?
No,
or was that
I
just you were just
it.
like, this is my journey?
Nah, I hate the winter. I get bad seasonal depression. So I was like, I was in Cape Verde. I have a charity too. We built houses, and me and my father started a charity when the social media stuff started popping off, because my dad's born and raised there, and he's always like silently giving back to the community. 99% of the population lives off $1 a day. There's 500,000 people out there. So like everyone's like as poor as you could imagine, but it's a beautiful country, beautiful country. And the people are so cool and down to earth and happy. And so when I started getting a lot of followers, I was like, Dad, I bet if we just fucking fired up a GoFundMe, and I told people we had a charity, they don't. It's just like you take X amount of followers, X amount of percentage will donate X amount. Like we can help a couple people. Yeah. And he loved the idea. And I think so far we're at like almost 250,000.
Wow.
And we've built like 7 or 8 homes.
Wow.
Help people get access to medical care, like something that we had that we could just go to urgent care for. They die from it. So we're like flying people out to other countries to get like medical care. We've saved a couple of people's lives and stuff. And so I was just out there in October, and I did Portugal for a little bit. Then I went to Aruba in November. Then I was out here in December. And so the winter time, I was like, I'm just gonna, go on a cruise, go home, see my son for 4 or 5 days, and then try to like
be out,
which isn't the hell. But it's like this winter, I'm not playing like we're just gonna do that this winter. So it was like 2 days before the cruise. I'm getting all these cruise videos on my TikTok. And I was like, I'm going to go by myself, dude.
Yeah.
And just solo cruise it. And so 2 days before the cruise, I just went Royal Caribbean. It was fucking electric, dude. There's a bunch of people on there following me.
I've never been on a cruise.
Loved it. Solo too, because it was like solo traveling, especially if you're not in a good headspace, can get like a little depressing because like,
You're
oh,
by
now I'm
yourself.
depressed in like a beautiful place. That
By
sucks.
myself, yeah.
Alone, you know?
Yeah.
And it's hard to like meet, but on a cruise ship, there's something about like when that horn goes off and the ship sets sail,
Something
people
happens.
just get loosey-goosey. Like you could just talk to anybody.
Okay.
Making friends in the elevators. You could be standing next to someone, they're having a conversation. I was just jumping in. And it was like, they're fine. You did that in a hotel lobby, someone might be like,
people are like, shut the fuck up.
Who's this guy?
But a cruise is just
This
like you guys
cruise
are all
is just-
together.
We're on the
Just-
open seas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Something
so it was
happens out
cool.
there.
I won a free cruise.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because of your videos?
No.
You just
Because of
entered a
what?
raffle?
At
Or?
the casino.
How did I fucking know?
I gambled enough.
How much did you pay for it in real life?
0.
How much did you gamble before you went the cruise?
Oh, like I was up 3,000, down, up, down. So I ended up not losing anything crazy
Hell
and
yeah,
won the
'cause- and you
cruise
got a
for the
cruise.
amount of hours that I put
That's
in.
a win.
Wow.
Yeah, being a
That's
guest
a win.
free cruise whenever I want. I got to book it by February though, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
My thing about cruises, if you're going alone, I think it's cool. If you're going with people, what's the
sucks.
excitement?
Yeah.
Oh, there's 20 restaurants on the boat. Okay.
Yeah.
If I go to fucking Antigua or whatever, outside my hotel, place I've never been, there's
Yeah.
going to be 20 restaurants within walking
Yeah,
distance
yeah.
that I could try.
Yeah.
Is it because it's on a boat? Well, the boat's so big, you forget that you're on a boat.
Right.
So now it takes away the coolness factor. So
Yeah.
I don't really get it,
Yeah.
but I had fun.
It's tight.
Yeah.
It's great.
So what's next for you?
Tony Boats.
Other than therapy?
Therapy, definitely next for me. I want to see where the stand-up takes me. I'm more
I want to see
passionate
where the
about it.
stand-up takes you.
More passionate about that than anything else. I feel like I'm born to do it. I feel like I have it in me. I feel it's always something that I wanted to do. Always been the class clown type, and I love the intricacies of it and like the art behind it and how
Yeah.
there's more to it than just being funny. Yeah, I'm excited to see where that takes me. I'm gonna stay local.
Are you gonna do like a? Oh, okay. I was gonna
Because
say,
I want to
no.
respect the art a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because
Like,
of
it
the
takes
social
time.
media, I could go to every major
Yeah.
city and sell tickets. But like, what kind of show am I giving people? So I want to respect the art.
You
and
wanna
get some
build
time
it.
under my belt, build
Yeah,
up a
yeah.
routine, and then when I start touring, hopefully I'm still relevant online and can sell
Right.
tickets.
Yeah. That's tight, dude. Yeah. That's great, man.
Against all odds, man.
Against
What a
all
fucking
odds.
cool story, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad you came out.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I've been watching you for a long time. Always been a big fan. You know
Look
what I
at
mean?
us.
The video you did with the wig on
With
the
the
other day
farts?
with the farts and the facial expressions was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was
That's
so
my
good.
vibe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
So
you
here
do
we are.
crush it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Fuck.
Perfect.
This is
How do you
great.
guys end it? Do you
Well,
fucking-
We just fucking make it
How can
weird.
people find you?
Nobody Cares Anthony anywhere. Nobody Cares Anthony, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I'm not really active on TikTok anymore. It's kind of
It
TikTok's
fucked.
gone
Tony
way
got
downhill,
fucking
right?
started
What
over
happened?
that.
it turned into QVC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just
People are
it
just selling shit
it's
that you
just
don't
fucked.
need.
Yeah.
They're selling like Spencer's gifts,
It's whack.
quality
Yeah.
stuff. It's
fucking whack.
if I was still getting views on there though, it wouldn't be.
It's
whack.
it's really unfortunate what
Yeah.
happened to
Yeah.
it. I have almost 1.4 million, and I'm lucky if I clear 10K
Yeah.
on my vid. And it's because
It's
I don't post
crazy.
a lot of TikTok
Well,
shots.
it's also because Zuckerberg came in and said we're doing reels, YouTube's doing shorts,
It's doing way
Facebook's
better.
doing reels, so now
Yeah.
it's spread out.
Mm-hmm.
But
And the payment's better on Meta than it is
Oh.
on TikTok.
it's been crazy lately, hasn't it? Yeah, it's been cool.
Big time.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. If you ever want to come on, Mark, against all odds, I'm sure they'd be happy to have you.
Yeah.
Maybe he could unban
Yeah,
me
Rachel.
from Facebook right now. He's
Yeah.
on punishment.
Well, fuck yeah, man.
Thanks for
coming out.
having me,
Okay.
guys.
That's
I had
it.
fun.